Hello, 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 hello. I've got a little baby, but she's out of sight. I talk to her across the telephone. I've never met my baby, but she's mine all right. So take my tip and leave this girl alone. Every single morning you can hear me yell, "Hey Central, fix me up along the line." He connects me with my honey and I ring the bell. This is what I say to baby mine. I say, hello my baby, hello my honey, hello my ragtime gal. Send me a kiss by wire, baby my heart's on fire. If you refuse me, honey, you'll lose me and you'll be left alone. Oh baby, telephone and tell me I'm your own. My baby, hello my honey, hello my ragtime gal. Oh, send me a kiss by wire, baby my heart's on fire. If you refuse me, honey, you'll lose me and you'll be left alone. Oh baby, telephone and tell me I'm your own. One more time. What a wonderful instrument this is, the ukulele. Well, why is it so great? Well, one thing is that it's a very small instrument. It's very portable, and that means you can carry it around and play it in many different situations and many places. And lots of people have happy memories of family parties and gatherings around the campfire where they've played the ukulele. It's a really great thing. Hi, my name's Ralph Shaw, and where I live, I entertain and perform with the ukulele, and one of the things that I really like about this instrument is that there's no stigma attached to it like there are with a lot of classical instruments. There is no one correct way to play the ukulele, so as a result it really depends on the person playing it as to what they want to do with it. And I've spent the last 10, 12 years learning the ukulele. And for me, there weren't many places to gather information about playing the different techniques that are possible on the ukulele. So as I've collected these different techniques, I've decided to put them all on a video so that you can learn them. And I hope that what I have to teach you today will be of great benefit in your progress with this wonderful instrument. Now then, a lot of people come to the ukulele without having much knowledge of musical theory, and that's what it was like for me. So we'll start from that standpoint. That is that you may want to learn a song and you have the words of the song, you know the tune, and there are chords to play, right? And so we're going to learn some chords and some strums on the ukulele. First of all though, we need to know how to tune the ukulele. And there are different tunings that people use, and two of the most popular tunings are these. The first one is A, D, F sharp, B, and I don't use that one, but it is used a lot by people that teach ukulele in schools. The reason for that is it's a higher pitch tuning and it fits in well with children's voices. The George Formby Society also uses that tuning, as do quite a few other people around the world. But by far the most popular tuning for the ukulele is G, C, E, A. And that means that the strings on the ukulele are tuned G, this is a G, C, E, A. And we count the strings of the ukulele from the floor. So the first string is this one, this is the A string. The second string is an E. The third string is a C, and the fourth string is a G. and they make that unique ukulele sound. My dog has fleas, my dog has fleas. Or if you want to remember the strings, we say, good cats eat ants, G-C-E-A, good cats eat ants. There you go. Some people will tune the ukulele so that this string here, the fourth string, is tuned an octave lower. And that can be useful if you're wanting to pick melodies, and it gives you a lower range of notes to play with. But what I really like is this way that the Hawaiians invented, where we have a high string on the top here. And what that does for me, I think, it's what gives the ukulele that lovely, bouncy, upbeat feel. Because whether we're strumming down or whether we're strumming up, we end on a high note. So I like this tuning. Da 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 da. Okay. So once we've got our ukulele in tune, well, it might slip out of tune. We don't want that. So what we need to do is make sure that the strings are wrapped well around the tuning pegs here, 3 or 4 times perhaps, and that the tuning pegs should be nice and tight. So you can use a screwdriver to tighten up the tuning pegs. Make sure they're good and tight so that there's no slippage of the strings. They need to stay good and sound. And another thing I want to mention here is if you don't already have a good ukulele, try and get one. There are a lot of ukuleles out there that aren't very well made because they were manufactured to be really not much more than toys. And you'll find that when you play them, even if you're doing everything right, you may still not sound very good. And that's because the intonation is bad. Intonation means that when you put your finger on the strings at the frets, these lines going down are called frets. When you put your fingers on, it sounds out of tune, and it can be pretty bad. So you'll do yourself a big favor if you have a good quality ukulele that sounds nice when you're playing your chords. You'll enjoy your practice a lot more, I guarantee it. So we get our ukulele in tune. You can tune it to me here on the video, or I recommend that you get yourself a good tuner, and it could be an electronic tuner. This is an electronic tuner right here, and these are very good. They tell you what note you're playing and whether you're sharp or flat, and then you tune your tuning peg to get it right. Another way is to use a pitch pipe. A lot of music shops sell pitch pipes. You blow in the note that you need and then tune your string accordingly. So I'll just give you the strings again so you can tune your ukulele. So here's the first string, an A. Here's the second string, an E. Here's a third string, a C. And the fourth string is a G. Good. I think we're ready to play. Now then. How do we hold the ukulele? Well, depending on where we are and whether we're standing or sitting, there's going to be different ways. So sitting down, well, you can put the ukulele on your lap and play like this. Now, you're going to be in a lot of situations from time to time where you're going to have to play the ukulele standing up. So if you practice a lot sitting down, I suggest you also practice standing up as well. And to play standing up, what most people do is they press the ukulele against the chest and hold it there in place with the forearm, holding the ukulele here, and that gives the wrist nice movement here. And on the left hand, the neck of the ukulele is held in the crook of the hand. And the pressure of the left hand and the forearm of the right hand holds the ukulele there against the chest. Some people have difficulties with this. Women particularly sometimes don't find this position very comfortable. And I must say, I like to use a strap. And so I put a strap on my ukulele. To do this, you'll probably have to have a button put on the end of your ukulele. I recommend you get a music shop or an instrument builder to do that for you if you can't do it yourself. And this is a mandolin strap. And what I like about it is that it leaves my hands free to be able to do other things. Sometimes I play the harmonica when I'm performing, or if I'm teaching, it leaves my hands free to do other things. And I have the ukulele here in a position, and I don't need to worry about holding it on my body. It leaves my arm free to be able to do all the rhythmic things that I want to do. So I personally like a strap. So, we're holding the ukulele. Now we need to do a strum. Well, strumming the ukulele does mean having a nice loose wrist. Our forearm will be moving up and down, and I sometimes see beginner players having the wrist very straight and the arm moves up and down like this. Well, that's not what we want. We need the wrist to be much more loose. And the feeling of that is as if your hand is wet. Imagine that your hand is wet and you shake the water off, and now get an idea of that feeling, the wrist shaking up and down. It's also as if you're holding a thermometer and you need to shake the liquid back into the bulb. And you give it a shake like that. Actually, I think that's a better analogy. And that gives a good idea of the wrist movement that we want for strumming the ukulele. Now, what do we do to strum it with? Well, we could use a pick. I started with a felt pick. This is the kind of felt pick I used, and it was really very good for a long time. I could get a good grip on it, and I could really strum the strings nicely with that. Right? Very good. But however, as you get better with the ukulele and as you progress, you'll want to be able to make more sounds, more strums, and you'll get more variety by being able to use your thumb and your other fingers. So if you use a pick, that's fine, but get on to using your fingers, and that's how I'm going to teach. And we actually use our finger like a pick. So you can stick your index finger out and then bend it a bit and put your thumb right there on the first knuckle of your index finger. As if you're holding a pick, but really it's just the finger end that's going to be the pick. And that's what we're going to strum with. And we'll try strumming down on a C chord. Yeah, here's your first chord. So a C chord is placing the finger, and it doesn't really matter which finger, but I recommend that you use your ring finger or your little finger. You'll find out as you start to play other chords that which finger you use depends on the chord that you're playing afterwards. So it will vary. So these are called frets, the first fret, second fret, and third fret. Now place your ring finger, for example, here behind the third fret. Don't put it actually on the fret, but put it in the space between the second and the third fret. And press down just hard enough that it makes that sound. And that's a chord, that's a C chord. And then strum down with the back of the nail. Okay? So we're strumming a C chord. How does it sound? Good? Yeah? Well, a lot of the songs that we're going to be playing are going to be in 4/4 time. And that means that the songs have 4 beats to the bar. They go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's try doing that strum. So holding our finger end like a pick, strumming down with the back of the nail on a C chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so for now, let's just concentrate on one thing at a time. There's a reason for that. You know, when somebody mentioned to you about rubbing your tummy and patting your head, it was kind of hard to do because as you're trying to rub your tummy and pat your head, you'd find yourself patting your tummy and rubbing your head, and it gets confusing. So what you probably found to do was that you get used to doing one. Right? You get rubbing your tummy until that becomes a habit. And then you just have to concentrate on patting your head, and you're able to do it. Well, it's like that with the ukulele. We don't want to be trying to do everything all at once. So for now, we're going to just cover up our left hand strings, just deaden them, so we're not playing anything, and then we're going to do some strums with the right hand. So I said we were doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, we can also do the beats in between them, and we call those the and beats. And to do the and beats, they are going to be upstrokes, and they're done with the pad of the index finger. So we go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay? So we're strumming down with the back of the nail and then up with the pad of the finger. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Making sure that the wrist is flexible. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And I do recommend that you practice doing that at different speeds and keeping the speed very constant. There is a tendency with players that as they get better at doing something, they'll start to speed up. And we don't want that. A song should stay the same tempo all the way through, unless we're deliberately changing the tempo, of course. So we want it to be constant. And a good way to practice that is with a metronome. Or if you don't have a metronome, a metronome just has a nice solid click. If you don't have one of those, you could perhaps try doing these rhythmic strums along with a record that you have and try doing that and keeping in time with the music that you're listening to. And you may pick up some handy musical hints along the way if you're doing that. So let's try that together. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Well, this is all very well, but this isn't how music sounds. It sounds more interesting. It makes you want to tap your feet. And how do we do that? Well, we have to put accents on some of the beats. So we're going to put accents on the 1 and the 3rd beat, okay? So we go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And I'll give you a little tip. At the moment that you want to put an accent on a beat, press your thumb harder on your finger. And that will give you that extra push that you need that will just make that accent a bit stronger. So let's try that again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. So it's strong, soft, strong, soft, strong, soft, strong, soft. You can even take the other beats out altogether. 1. But the arm keeps moving. It keeps the time still. 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Let's try it on the 2 and the 4 now. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 4, 2. This is a good way to accompany yourself while you're singing. Is playing on the 2 and the 4. Now don't forget, you can put accents on the and beats as well. Let's put the accent on the 1 down and the very next and up. So that would be 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3. We could do it on all the ands. 1 and 1 and 1 and 1 and 1 and. There are all kinds of possibilities. 1 and. Wow, we start to discover that even just with this 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, there are almost limitless possibilities to the rhythms that we can make with that. And you'll find that this is going to be very useful to you when you start playing rhythmic ukulele solos. You don't want to be doing stuff that's too fancy while you're singing because you don't want to distract too much from the song. Okay? So during the singing, you'll just keep things nice and steady and then do these other rhythms for other occasions. Anyway, let's move on and see what else there is we can do. We can do a tremolo. A tremolo is where we move the finger quickly up and down on the strings. And it should also be done in time. So already we're going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now if we double that, so we go down and up for the 1 and down and up for the and, we'll be doing it twice as fast. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and will become. And if that's done even faster, that gives us a tremolo. Now you'll see with my hand here that I've spaced my fingers out, I've taken my thumb away, and just my index finger is set quite firmly there, and I'm rotating my forearm there. And that gives us that tremolo effect, that up and down effect. And how fast you do your tremolo will depend on how fast the song is that you're playing. But it's a good little technique to work on. It can make your songs more effective by putting that in from time to time. Okay, let's learn some chords. One of the common keys to play in on the ukulele is the key of F. So here's an F chord. So as I said, these are called frets, and we put our index finger here on the second string at the first fret, and then our middle finger on the fourth string at the second fret. Remember, just behind the fret, in the space between them. And an F chord sounds like this. And another chord in the key of F is the B flat chord. Now this can be a little bit tricky for beginners, but do persevere with it. It's a very important chord on the ukulele. And what we do is we press the first two strings down at the first fret, and then the third string at the second fret, and then the fourth string at the third fret. And that's going to sound like this. And all the strings should ring nice and clearly. If you're having trouble getting your fingers into that position, one thing you could try is to bring them to an angle. If you just angle them a little bit, you might find that they get into that position better. Another possible way of doing this is to bar the first fret. So that means take your index finger and press that across all the strings at the first fret, and then play the second fret, the third string, with your middle finger, and then the fourth string at the third fret with your ring finger. And that's another way to do a B flat. Right? And doing the bar is a very useful thing for a lot of chords. You'll see that coming in again and again. Now another chord to do is the C7. This is one of the easiest chords that there are. And all you do is use your index finger there, first string, first fret. And that's C7. Now, as we're playing a song, we could just strum our chords. F, C7. We could do that. But we could make them even more interesting by adding what I call ornament notes. And ornament notes is when you put your finger on another string in rhythm, and it sounds nice. And you can try this for yourself on different strings and just see what works and what doesn't, and just use what works. So if we're playing our F, we could put our little finger here down on the first string at the third fret, then take it off, put it on, take it off, put it on, and by doing that we can have a bit of extra rhythm for our song. Off, on, off, on. Or we could do it with our ring finger here on the third string at the second fret, and play 2 beats off and 2 beats on. That sounds nice too, doesn't it? Right. And we can do the same thing with a C7 or any other chord. With a C7, for example, we're playing that, and then we can put our middle finger here on the third string at the second fret. Right. And I call those ornament notes, and you can have a lot of fun figuring out different ornaments to do with the chords that you're playing. And another effect that's useful is sliding the fingers along. If we're doing that with an F, well, we can really only do it here on the fourth string, but as we play that string, I slide my middle finger from the first fret up to the second fret, so it sounds like this. So I'm ready to slide just before I play. Then as soon as I'm about to make the strum down, I slide it along. Actually, just after. I do the strum and slide it along immediately after. Okay? And you can do that with whole chords. A G7 chord, which we'll be using later, but I'll show it you now. A G7 is with your ring finger down here, first string, second fret, index finger here on the second string, first fret, and your middle finger up here on the third string, second fret. That's a G7. And you can slide all three of those fingers back. Your index will actually come off there. So that's a fun effect that you can use in the right place at the right time in the songs that you're playing. You can do that with any chord, sliding it along. So I think we should learn a song and play something. Use some of these tricks. And I'm going to show you a song that is an old English folk song. I think it dates back to the 1500s. It's called Froggy Went A-Courting. And you only need two chords for this song. We're just going to use F. And we're going to use C7, and I'll play it fairly straightforward at first with the accent on the 2 and the 4, and then as we go along we can try putting in some ornaments, we can try doing some tremolo, and we can do other effects that we can think of. An effect is even to just stop playing altogether for a little while and then come back in again. So here we go. Here's a strum. It's on the 2 and the 4, 2. Froggy went a-courting and he did ride. Froggy went a-courting and he did ride, a sword and pistol by his side. He took Missy Mouse upon his knee. He took Missy Mouse upon his knee and he said, Missy Mouse, will you marry me? Let's try some ornaments now. When Uncle Rat gave his consent. When Uncle Rat gave his consent, the weasel wrote the publishment. Let's try some tremolo. Okay, here we go. Where will the wedding supper be? Where will the wedding supper be? Way down yonder in a hollow tree. Good. Well, the first one in was the bumblebee. The first one in was the bumblebee. He danced a jig with a crookback flea. Well, the owl did hoot, the birds they sang. The owl did hoot, the birds they sang, and through the woods the music rang. Let's do some more tremolo. Well, they all went sailing across the lake. Oh yeah. They all went sailing across the lake and they got swallowed up by a big black snake. There's bread and cheese up on the shelf. There's bread and cheese up on the shelf. If you want any more, you can sing it yourself. Good. Now then, that song, of course, was in 4/4 time, which goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. A lot of songs, of course, have been written in 3/4 time, which is called waltz time. And that goes 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And that has a bit of a different style of playing to it. And the way I play in waltz time, if we're going to do it on a C chord, is that I pick up on one of the strings, and then I strum down twice on all the strings. So it's going to sound like this. And it doesn't matter which string that you're picking up on. It can be any of the strings, and an alternative to picking up on a string would be to pick down. The easiest one to pick down, of course, is the fourth string. Up, down. So we're going pick, strum, strum is what we're doing. We can add some more variety to that by, instead of just strumming down twice, we can strum down, up, down, and that would sound like this. Or we can do pick, down, up, which will sound like this. And then vary those as we're playing. So a song might go la da 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 da. So you get the idea. Okay? Another rhythm to play is if you're playing Irish music is playing in jig time, and a jig is in 6/8 time, which means that there are 6 beats to the bar. So that goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, with the accents usually being on the 1 is the main accent, and also an accent on the 4. And to play in jig time, I do it like this. I strum down, then up and down. That's 1, 2, 3, and then up, down, up is our 4, 5, 6. Okay? So it's down, up, 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 down, up. And then it's going to sound like this. That's a tune called The Irish Washerwoman, and in case you want to know, the chords in that were just C, G7, C, and then an F, right? And then G7, C. Good. Okay, let's learn some more techniques. Well, if you're going to play the ukulele, you're going to need to know lots of chords. Where can you learn chords? Well, you'll need to get yourself a chord chart of some kind, and there's lots of ways to get a chord chart. You can buy them. Sometimes chords are listed in the back of ukulele books. These days you can get chord charts for free from the internet, and then you can start learning some chords. And you could just learn them right off the chord chart, but that's not the way I did it. The way I learned chords was by learning songs, and then learning the chords that I needed for those particular songs. And one thing that's very important to bear in mind is that even by learning one chord, you've actually learned a lot of chords. Let me show you why. When you learn a C chord, okay, this is the C. If we move this up 1 fret, we move our finger along 1 fret, but we also have to move these strings along 1 fret. So that means we have to do the bar that I mentioned earlier. And there now, that's a C sharp chord. It's exactly the same as a C, but now it's a C sharp because we've moved it up 1. Move it up another fret, that's now a D chord. Move it up another fret, that's D sharp, also known as E flat. There's E. Move it up another fret, we've got F, F sharp, G, G sharp. And so we've learned all those chords just by knowing one chord shape. If we take another chord shape, we could take the B flat shape. All right, remember that was B flat. If we move that up 1, that's a B. Move it up another, that's a C, C sharp, D, D sharp. Wait a minute, that's a C? Well, we had a C here, and we have a C here as well. Well, isn't one C enough, you might think? Well, it's actually very useful to know the same chord in different positions. That's another thing that can add variety to your playing. If you're playing a C here, and a C up here, and then there's a C up here as well, it can really add more interest to your playing. You'll also find that when you're playing melody on the ukulele, that it's good to know where the different positions of the same chords are on the neck. So when you learn a chord, just learn the chord in different places as well. You'll find that's a very useful thing to do. Now let's work some more with the right hand and see what rhythms we can get. I've already mentioned that by putting the accent on the different parts of the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, you can do some interesting rhythms there. And we want our rhythms to sound good and precise. And so one thing that's very good to know is something called damping. Now I'll show you this on the B flat chord, because the B flat chord involves all our fingers, and that'll show this very well. Damping is when you strum a chord and then straight away you take the pressure off the left hand. You don't lift the fingers right off, no, just release the pressure, so it deadens the strings, right? And this is what it sounds like without the damping, and this is what it sounds like with damping. Taking the fingers off, releasing the pressure right after each stroke. Right, you hear that? It gets a nice chunk, 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 chunk going. It kind of sounds like Django Reinhardt, the sort of accompaniment he would do. And it is a very good way of accompanying other musicians or accompanying yourself, and it gets a good rhythm going. Here's another fun thing to try. Move that shape up 2 frets, so we're in the C position. We can do the Bo Diddley rhythm. He used damping to great effect to do this. And we can slide that down 2 frets to the B flat, and we can make it go like this. So a lot of the time I'm just going like that, and then just playing these when I want that accent, I press my fingers down and play them. You can have a lot of fun by trying that. Okay, so let's see other rhythms we can do. I'm going to show you something now which took me quite a while to figure out. It's something that George Formby used to use a lot. Now George Formby didn't use a lot of chords with his left hand, but he did know how to use his right hand, and he did something called the split stroke. And it sounds like it's not in 4/4 time, but it actually is. And the split stroke, I'm going to show you on a C chord, it's going to be sounding like this. What we do is we strum down all the strings. Then we strum up, actually just pick up on the 1st string, and then pick down on the 4th string. And then repeat that. Strum down all the strings, then pick up on the 1st string, and then down on the 4th string. And then to finish off, strum down all the strings, and then just pick up on the 1st string. So together it's going to sound like this. Okay, so we strum down, pick up on the 1st, down on the 4th, strum down, pick up on the 1st, down on the 4th, then strum down all and pick up on the 1st. This is a very effective strum when you want to do a ukulele solo, and it's very important to have that good flexible wrist movement to be able to do those quick up and down movements. And this strum itself can be varied and made even more interesting. Remember when I told you about ornament notes? Well, what we can do is we can lift our finger on and off. So what I will do now is just have the finger on when I'm doing the down strum, and then taking it off when I'm picking up. And very slowly it will look like this. And another thing we can do is to have a double beat at the beginning of the split stroke as well. So instead of going, we just do 2 beats at the beginning, and that'll sound like this. Here it comes. Again. Don't worry if you can't get this straight away. Even knowing it and how it's done, it can be a little bit awkward to get at first, but keep persevering and practicing it, and it will add a lot of interest to your playing. Now, what else can we do? Well, I mentioned earlier, we don't just need to use our finger, but we can use our thumb. Right? The thumb's very useful. We can do a roll with the thumb, and that, when it's played as part of the split stroke, it'll sound like this. And the way we do a roll is to play with the finger coming down and strumming on the strings, and then the thumb follows the finger and strums the strings after the finger. And it has the effect, when it's played at speed, it sounds like a roll. Hear that? And you're going to have to experiment with the distance between your finger and your thumb to get just the right sound you want, because you'll have a different sound if your thumb is close to your finger or if it's further apart. So try that and try and get the effect that you want to get. Another thing that you can do with the thumb is to make a sort of a triplet sound. Listen to this. Da, da, ya, ta, ta, ta. And what's happening there is I'm strumming down twice with the finger, and then the finger comes down on the 3rd time, and then the thumb splits off and rests on the 4th string, and then plucks it. And then the finger comes up and down. And it goes down, down. Okay, so the finger comes down, the thumb rests on the 4th string, plucks it, and the finger goes up and down. I think we're ready for another song. I'll teach you the song that I played right at the beginning, Hello My Baby. And for this we need the chords C. It's going to go hello my baby, then A7. So put your index finger here on the 3rd string at the 1st fret. Hello my honey, and now D7. So bar there at the 2nd fret with your middle finger there on the 1st string. Hello, my ragtime gal. And now G7, there, that looks like this. Ring finger, 1st string, 2nd fret. Index finger on the 2nd string, and the middle finger there on the 3rd string at the 2nd fret. Send me a kiss by wire, then C. Then C diminished. C diminished. We keep our little finger on, and then put our middle finger on the 2nd string at the 2nd fret, the ring finger there on the 3rd string at the 3rd fret, and our index finger there on the 4th string at the 2nd fret. And that's a C diminished. Now this chord shape, once you've learned this, it's the same for all diminished chords. So they'll be in different positions depending on what chord it is, but the diminished shape is always this shape. So we've got C, C diminished, G7, and then the rest of the chords you know. C, A7, D7, G7, C. And while I've got you, let me show you a turnaround. These are great things to know, especially for the sort of upbeat songs from the 20s. And it involves doing a C, then a C diminished, and then a D minor 7. Keep your little finger on, use that as an anchor, and put your index finger there on the 2nd string at the 1st fret, and then these 2 fingers here on the 3rd and 4th string at the 2nd fret. That's a D minor 7, and then a G7. So put them together, go C, C diminished, D minor 7, G7. And this is a very useful thing to have and play at the end of a song, or sometimes at the end of a line. And when we get to the end of the song of Hello My Baby, we'll we'll say, telephone, tell me I'm your own. Hello, my baby, and we're back to the beginning. See, very useful. Okay, let's sing the song. We'll start off with the turnaround. Again, here's the song. Hello, my baby, hello, my honey, hello, my ragtime gal. Send me a kiss by wire, baby, my heart's on fire. If you refuse me, honey, you'll lose me and you'll be left alone. Oh, baby, telephone and tell me I'm your own. Now just play. Do the ornaments. Let's sing it again. Hello, my baby, hello, my honey, hello, my ragtime gal. Send me a kiss by wire. Oh, baby, my heart's on fire. If you refuse me, honey, you'll lose me and you'll be left alone. Oh, baby, telephone and tell me I'm your own. Let's try split stroke now. Yeah. Hey, how was that? Good? Great. Now, you heard me do the thumb roll in there, and I also did another quick little thing. I did a sort of flick up and down with the finger. Once you get playing, and you're playing at speed, it's a little bit of a hard thing to demonstrate, but if you just rewind the video, you'll see me do a quick up and down, and that also gives a roll effect that's very similar to the thumb following the finger. And then I finished off with a... Well, all I did there was I played a G sharp 7. So there's a G7. If you slide that up one fret, and then I also hooked my thumb over there, so I'm pressing down the 4th string at the 1st fret, and I'm playing da la la, and then G7, C. Right? Da la la da da. It's good to have a good finish, isn't it? So there we go. Hello, my baby. Now, there are some songs that have a sort of a lilting quality to them, and I think that's true of calypso songs and Hawaiian songs, and I'm going to teach you a strum now that is very useful for those kinds of songs. And I use this strum for a song called Yellow Bird. Now, I'm not going to teach you the song, but I'll show you the chords, and we'll see something interesting. So we're going to be playing an F, but it's going to be a different F. We still do this kind of F with the index finger here on the 2nd string on the 4th, but we're also going to add our little finger on the 1st string at the 3rd fret. All right, you're going to see why in a minute. Now the strum goes like this. We play down on the 4th string and then drag our finger down all the strings. I say drag because it's slower than a strum. It's a bit like a slower strum. And then we go up, up, on the 1st string, and then down, up all the strings. I'll say that again. Down on the 4th string, kind of a drag, and then up, up, down, up. And all together it's going to sound like this. Okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my little finger here, and I'm going to move it back a fret, down to the 2nd fret, and then back up again. Now listen what happens. You may notice that is the first 3 notes of Yellow Bird. Da, 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 and C7. Da, da, da. Isn't that interesting? This is our first clue as to how we can play melodies with the ukulele. And it's really down to doing those ornament notes. As I showed you earlier, you'll discover that the ornament notes lead us into being able to actually play the melody notes of a song that we're playing. I'll just show you one more strum for this, and then we'll go into some more melody playing. So this is another strum I like to use also for this song and songs like it. And what I do is, again, it starts off with a down on the 4th string, then a quick down, up, down, and then a slower up, down, up, down, up. Okay, so it's down on the 4th string, like this, then down, up, down, then up, down, up, down, up. And all together it's going to sound like this. Okay, here we go. C7, F, again, C7, B flat, F, C7, F, B flat, F, C7, and F. Well, I think you've learned a lot of stuff already. Maybe it's time to try playing a melody song. Well, now, if you've been playing your ukulele for a while, you may want to get into melody playing, and it's sometimes called melody chording. And sometimes it's advanced players that play this, but I want to show you a simple arrangement that I've made up of an old English folk tune called Country Garden. And it's not as hard as you might think. Actually, this song has been adapted into a song called English Country Garden, so you could even find words to sing along with it. But here, let's see how it goes. So I'll take you through that very slowly. So we're going to be first of all strumming down on the C, then another little strum down on the C, and then we play this next fret down on the 1st string and strum up. That's a C major 7, right? Just one strum, and then down on the F, and then that other F where we play it at the 3rd fret, and then play a G. A G is like this. Right, finger here, here and here, then strum down on that, and down on the G7, and down on the C. So all together that line will sound like. And then the next part, we play a C, play it with the pinky, with a little finger there, because the next chord is going to be an upstroke on the D minor 7, like that. And then down on the C, and then down F, then D minor, which we play by adding our ring finger there on the 3rd string, 2nd fret, and that's a down stroke, and then play a D minor 7 as a down stroke, and then down on a G, then up on a G7, down on a C. So that part is going to sound like this. Actually, not like that, it's going to be like this. Okay, now the next part goes like this. We're playing a C, and then we're going to be taking the finger off for the upstroke. So down on the C, take it off for the upstroke, down on the C, up for the upstroke, then play a G7 down, and then take your ring finger off the 1st string and play up. And then play a G and strum down. So more quickly, that's going to look like this. And repeat that. And the next part, we play a C, then the C major 7, which is 1 fret down, and then a form of a D chord, which is pressing just the 3 strings down at the 2nd fret, but not the 1st string. And you can do it with these 3 fingers here, or I'm able to press them down with the front part of my index finger, but I still leave this one open. So these three strings are pressed down, this one's open. So that's a D, and then this kind of D, we strum down, and then an up on a D7, and then down on a G, G7 actually is what that is, so we strum down on a G7, and then put your little finger here on the 3rd fret on the 1st string, and an upstroke there, and then take your fingers off the 1st string, and play down, then up on the G7, and then play a G. And all together, that's going to sound like this. I'll just do that again for you. And the next part, we're just going to play 3 single notes on the E string. So we're going to pluck the E string open, then play it at the 1st fret, then at the 3rd fret, and then the rest of it is going to be like it was at the beginning. So, and that's going to sound like this. Actually, there was a little variation. You heard me play actually. Okay, so that part is done with a G, then take the finger off the 1st string, and play up, then play down on the G again, and play up on the G7. So the last part is going to sound like this. Good. And there we have an old English folk tune called Country Gardens. And as I said at the beginning of the video, I've learned quite a bit about playing the ukulele over the last 10 years or so, and I've tried to condense as much as I could into this video. And I really hope that I've helped you to learn more about playing this wonderful instrument. And there is a lot more to learn. There are many different playing styles, many different techniques, and many different ways of making the same sounds that I've already shown you. So go forth and really enjoy playing. And I have to say that the most excitement I got from playing the ukulele was when I was learning and striving to play the songs that I loved. And that's another thing. Play songs you love. Don't waste time playing songs you don't like. Take care. Goodbye. Thanks for listening.